Hey y'all, this is Lachi, she, her. I'm a black woman with cornrows. I identify as blind and neurodivergent, and I'm here at Amazon Music Studios on set for Mad Different. I'm here joined by Mercedes. Mercedes, do you want to give your image description?
I sure do. I'm Mercedes. I'm a white lady. I've kind of short reddish hair. I'm also here on the set of Mad Different with Lachi.
Is that where you are?
That's where we are.
We both in the same place.
We're in the same place.
So, Diseducation. That's why we're here. To me, Diseducation, which is actually, funnily enough, a song I wrote with Apple to App of the Black Eyed Peas, who is also legally blind. We met through Foundation Fighting Blindness, actually. Essentially, I wrote that song after hearing about the charity model. And what the charity model is essentially it says that folks with disabilities need to depend on saviors or good Samaritans, or else they're sort of a burden. And it centers the savior. And so I thought no, I am not an object to be pitied. Mm-hmm. I do not need all of that. And so that's essentially where that song came from. It's like, after hearing that song, you do not pity Lachi. And so I'm trying to educate folks on the real models of disability. But I want to toss it to you in playing the song. You yourself are a musician with a disability.
Yeah. Well, I acquired my disability after a car crash, and there was a overnight change in who I was to other people. And I realized I had acquired not just, the head injury, but I had acquired a label that I didn't ask for. Mm-hmm. I didn't really understand. But, realizing that I was part of this group that is often objects, is often props, is often the source of pity, source of sometimes kind of a gross fascination. It was a big deal to kind of process the change, but then realize that there was an identity and there was a whole community out there that I didn't have to explain myself to.
When we talk about the disability community versus the disabled population, I feel there is a difference. When we think of community, we think of shared experience, shared identity, as opposed to sort of defining ourselves just by the disability. Mm-hmm. So here you are, a disabled musician on set. How does it feel to be on a disabled-led set?
I mean, it rules, first of all. It's great. I think the biggest difference since the start of COVID, especially, is very, very hard to find COVID-safe work. But when I got the email from your team that was like, hey, you don't want to do this, I was like, if there's one person that's going to make this happen, like, I know I can trust Lachi and her team. So I wanted to just wear a mask. That's what I said. But your team came back with a ton of mitigations. They're just not really present that many places. And so being able to come here, be myself, it's accepted, it's part of the process, it's part of the logistics. It's not something that needs to be tacked on.
On all of our shoots, we do access check-ins because everybody has disabilities. It's so funny too, because when we do that at a lot of these shoots, we start finding people saying like, and it turns out that I also have this and that, and then they get that need met. And so we create an environment where folks can feel comfortable, safe, happy. We're talking about diseducation. Mm-hmm. What does the world need to be educated on in regards to disability?
Man. I think that one thing that became very clear to me as I sort of adopted this identity, as I sort of realized that I might be the only voice in the room, was that people can be very single-minded about these words. The word accessibility, it means a ramp. The word diversity, it means a person of color. So we have these sort of almost corporate, antiseptic definitions of these words. But I think what's very encouraging about elevating disability culture is that we can do that diseducation and bring new meaning to things like access, things like accessibility, things like diversity.
This discussion of language is really important. I think that's probably the biggest thing we need to educate folks on. Folks are afraid to say the word disability because they think it's negative. However, the community, so the disability community, accepts disability as an identity. And so if you're afraid to say the name of my identity, that is a form of erasure. Mm-hmm. Folks are like, do I say differently abled or handicapable, some kind of euphemism? But at the end of the day, euphemisms are corny, and they are also a form of erasure. just say the word. And when we think of things like access and needs, it turns out everybody has needs. And there is a scale of whether you have, higher access needs, lower access needs. Every human being has access needs. And frankly, everyone interfaces with disability, neurodivergence, chronic pain, all of these kind of things. Everyone has some form of disability identity. And so we keep hearing like, how do I become an ally? What do I do as an ally? And we get all these bullet points of the things you can do as an ally. But what you really need to do is figure out how you interface with disability, your own personal disability identity. And once you can actually empathize with someone else because they share that identity with you, then you're no longer an ally, you're just it, you're part of it. You're part of this beautiful collective chaos that is humanity. Yes. And I believe that that is what we need to educate folks on, because it's getting old and getting tired. And you can't be authentic if you don't accept the deepest part of yourself society is trying to get you to hide.
We got work to do.
We got work to do.
We got work to do.
You know what? Let's diseducate them. Let's diseducate them! I said it. She said it!